Hey, what's up, AfterBuzzers? We are here, the Terror Infamy After Show. We got a lot to discuss. We're talking about Episode 7, My Perfect World. Ken and Amy's relationship goes south. Bowen gets possessed. Luz and Chester meet up yet again, and Yuko is on the hunt. And we have a very, very special guest joining us in the studio. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's good, everybody?
Oh, look at this.
We're here. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Uh-oh.
There it goes.
What was that? It's always a shock.
It's always a shock. The Terror After Show. Yuko is here. The Yuko. Right. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your boy, Danny Royce, and I'm joined by these awesome guys here on the panel. You have them all the way at the left there. You've seen him on Bring the Funny and Pennyworth. He also does the dark in German.
That's right.
Ben Schnau.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me again. I mean, this is gonna be a crazy show with this guy right next to me. Come on.
This guy.
And if you recognize the guy next to him, I don't know, you may or may not. It's Derek Mio. You've seen him in Emoji Movie, SEAL Team, Hawaii Five-0, Rosewood, NCIS, Supergirl, and CSI. He plays Chester. Derek Mio.
In the Terror.
Yeah.
Wow. What don't
You're playing Chester right now, actually.
Don't forget that credit.
Can you beat Chester right now?
Yes. I feel like that's him, though.
Right.
Yes. I can.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Where's Luz? Where is she?
Where is Luz?
But I really have to say, and I told you already before the show, your acting is exceptional. I'm dead serious. This is crazy. I really love it.
Yeah.
It's the whole cast, all
Everyone,
around.
Everyone's just amazing.
It's true.
It's a great cast, and tonight's episode was awesome. Ben, what were your overall thoughts on the episode?
I mean, I told you every time, usually I see stuff coming. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see coming this guy, Derek, right next to me has a twin brother out of a sudden. I said, really?
Yeah, right? Possible? That was a little...
But then I was like, well, now it makes sense because Luz had twins, so I was like, okay.
Genetically.
Because genetically he's able to do that.
But twins don't just have twins, right?
but that usually... Really? I
be a bunch
of
twins. Would it?
I think that happens.
Maybe.
Twins run in people's families sometimes, I guess, Like,
I heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so
But it was interesting, and Yuko's coming back, obviously, doing her thing, as always, right? And
She's like the T-1000. She reminded me of the T-1000 in this.
She does. It's hilarious.
When she goes, she finds out the location, and then she goes.
Right.
And she just...
And I believe Sergeant Bowen has a crush on Amy. Boom. What do you say now?
All right.
Huh?
He was getting rid of the competition.
He was.
Much,
He
yeah,
actually was. Ken was a good competition.
Because the way how he looks at her, I was like, damn, I did that before. I know this feeling.
You know that feeling?
Wait, what?
I mean, I look at girls like that sometimes.
Oh.
But it doesn't work,
Well, Derek,
I hope it doesn't turn out how...
You have to teach me that.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. I want to get your overall thoughts on the episode. Was this your first time seeing the whole episode?
It was.
Okay, so
it was.
How was it for you?
I love watching it, as it's coming out, as the audience is seeing it, and getting to see the whole thing play out, and seeing scenes that I did not see being shot, because a lot of times we were in two separate locations, being in Guadalcanal or back at camp. It's just great seeing all the different scenes that you saw being read at the table read, that you imagine playing out between all the actors. And you hear about from the crew, that scene was amazing, or that scene was so intense, and then it definitely is when it comes across, man, that scene when Ken, gets taken out, that was like, that really hit me.
Well, speaking of that, that's what I want to talk about first. So Ken, Amy, and Bowen, they have this like triangle type of relationship that goes on in this episode. So Ken and Amy's, their relationship, it's just crazy. They're just not seeing eye to eye. He's throwing jabs at her the whole time, and then Bowen denies sending help but he ends up getting possessed. So Ben, did any of that surprise you, of what Bowen was going through as he was possessed?
I mean, honestly, at some point I didn't even have the feeling anymore that he was possessed. At some point I thought at some point he was just like himself again,
Yeah.
because he's an ass H. You know what I mean? SH. You know what I mean?
Oh, I was like, wait,
No,
what?
SH. I can't say the whole word, so I say SH.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
You
Anyway.
lost me.
But,
Ass Hakajin.
yeah, is it SH?
As hockey.
No, I was like, he's just, honestly, I felt so angry myself when I watched
Yeah.
him doing all that stuff, right? I mean, Ken and Amy, maybe they don't have the closest relationship anymore, but they just want to do the right thing.
Right.
They just want to help these children, right?
Exactly.
Because there's something going on in the camp, like, I don't know what it is, like a fever or something like that. And he's just, like I don't know what, he's not a human being to me
Right.
anymore, Mr. Bowen.
I think the sickness is more of like a bad omen. I think it's just like Yuko's presence being there, and that is definitely what just making everyone sick. And then, like you said, they want to do the right thing, but Ken has his own way of doing the right thing, and Amy has her own way, which is like the right cookie cutter way.
I mean, I cheered for Ken. I think he did it right. I would have done
Yeah, you
exactly
would
the
have
same
did the
thing
same
in the situation. Maybe it's not the proper way of doing something.
Yeah.
But I would have done the same thing in the situation. I mean, think about it yourself. You know,
He's
you're
very
like-
righteous. You know, he's a great. You know, he's fighting for the people.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And
Exactly.
with the whole loyalty questionnaire and everything, and to take out the bad guy that's
Take out the
that's
bad- yeah.
denying the medical care for the camp, and so
Right.
man, it was tragic.
It was
to
a
see
lot
that.
going on, and they took him hostage. Like, I honestly, I was a little surprised that they would let him walk like that. I didn't think they would. And then we found out that, he had his fingers crossed and they took Ken out. Did that surprise you, Ben?
I mean, I felt like he's going to do something crazy, but I didn't think that he's going to kill him right away, or that his people are going to kill him right away. I didn't see that coming. That was really shocking to me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It was crazy, even how Amy took it, and
Yeah.
she was still at Bowen's place taking care of him. Like,
Yeah.
that's gotta be hard.
You know what's
But she was recording,
She
so
was.
you can't just say that she was just there. Just,
Yeah.
she was. She definitely
She was going
had
through the
her own
motions.
motivations.
Right.
So that's why, because the phone calls or whatever it was recorded or something. Right?
Yeah, he was
So in the
recording
in the house,
everything
right?
he said.
Because I was just surprised a little bit, because if someone dies that I loved so much or that I felt for so much, the next scene when we see Amy with Mr. Bowen in the room,
That's what I'm saying.
I had
He
a-
wanted to pick up the pen and just
Right.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The intention, her motivation has to be so strong in
Yeah.
what she's trying to do to, kind of just hold those emotions.
So you think she kept her emotions down on
Oh,
purpose?
yeah, of course.
Interesting. Gotcha,
Yeah, I would have
gotcha.
been all over that.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
that makes sense now that you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So, what do you think? I don't know. What do you think she's gonna do with the tape?
I mean,
Derek, what is she gonna do with the tape? I'm just kidding.
tune in next week.
Just kidding.
I'm just thinking, right now, he didn't really say something that could get him in trouble, right? I mean, not now.
I think the whole thing of Ken putting his gun down and them killing him anyway, I think that might be a little against.
Okay, but isn't he like the authority anyway, so no one would question anything he does or says anyway? You know
Not
what
if
I
it's
mean?
on tape. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
It's a lot. But before we move into our next
Everyone-
topic,
How many times have you guys been like,
Yeah.
were you guys surprised by that? Because there's been so many
It's been so
twists
many.
on the show. It's like,
It's
did you
been
see
so
that
many.
coming? Like,
No, usually we see a lot of stuff coming, but with this storyline, the terror,
Yeah.
it's unpredictable.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's on him. That's why I love it. But before we get on to our next topic, Ben has an important message for you all.
Yeah, because we are already so emotional right now. I want to continue that, and
where's
I want to
Luz?
say.
Where is she?
Okay, Luz, if you listen to us as well, I
Where
just
is
wanted
she?
I wanted to tell you, I appreciate that. We all do appreciate it, and we also appreciate everyone who is basically watching us right now on YouTube, or is also listening to us on iTunes, on the podcast, because you make us the ESPN of TV talk, Derek.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting. And we also want you guys on YouTube right now, please give us 5 thumbs up. I always say 5. I know you can just do 1 at the moment, but do it 5 times. And
Who's
also
got
5
thumbs?
stars.
No one's got 5 thumbs.
We can do that. You can do it.
5 thumbs.
Because we want to continue working. We want to continue doing what we love. And we love having people like Derek in our studio, right? Discussing different shows. We really enjoy that. So thank you so much for your support, right? So keep it up. Watching us on YouTube, listening to the podcast on iTunes, for example, Spotify. And yeah.
Thank you
we love
so
that.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. 5 stars and 2 thumbs up.
20 thumbs.
20. 20. Okay, he said that.
20 thumbs. Yes, that's right.
That's 10 twins.
That's right.
Hey, speaking of
Wow.
twins,
There you go.
moving on to, I want to talk a lot about Luz and Chester's relationship.
Yeah.
So, Derek,
Yes.
overall, how do you think? What do you think their relationship? If you can say one thing about their relationship in this episode, what would that be? Like how and where it's going?
Well, I think it's a pivotal episode in that they're united. They're finally reunited after such a long time apart and after such a tragic, loss to both of them. So it's a big moment when they see each other for the first time. And now it looks like maybe they're gonna have there's hope.
There's hope.
Yeah, in New Mexico.
In New Mexico, Aguayo.
Everything's safe in New Mexico,
Right, you would
right?
think
There's
so,
no.
right?
I think ghosts aren't allowed in New Mexico. They're only in California. So
What happens in New Mexico stays in New Mexico.
Right. So Chester, and I'm gonna right in the beginning of the episode, Chester walks out when he finds the notes. All right. So the notes have never been opened. They were sent back. We're assuming that Luz's dad sent them back because she had trouble opening them, which I can understand because it takes you back to a place of hurt. It takes you. I mean, she's going through a lot right now. She lost her kids. She lost Chester. She's grieving, and the dad's like trying to push her to date and see men. I'm just like, it's too early for that.
Well, it's probably him that like kept them from her. You know what I mean? Kept the notes. It was like in the Notebook.
Yeah, the Notebook.
Right.
Right.
You want to see that scene when I'm in the rain and like I wrote to you every day.
Right.
I wrote you every day.
He's like keeping them up, and I just thought that was a lot to push. It was just a lot to push on her. It was trying to get her to go see Julio and like go out on this date, whatever.
And it's like that's what he's living for.
Right.
So like when he sees that, like there's, he's like, okay, I'll walk out. I'll risk my life, walking out of this camp, because I just need.
I'm glad
Chester
he
just needs
chose
her.
to walk out rather than putting a gun to his head. So that was good. That he was actually like.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
Because then it would be a 7-episode season.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we were like, okay, that's it. All right, got it.
That was a strong moment for me
It was
because
great.
it showed basically Chester without any fear anymore.
Yeah.
So you just said, I just go whatever. I just get out of here.
I mean, what else?
Just did it. but
Being flipped over in a Jeep,
Right.
being chased by this ghost.
by Yuko,
And I really have to say that again. I said that already to you when we watched the show, but honestly, the cast is very well done. I feel like everyone is in the right position, and also the relationship that you have in the car, the scene.
Right.
The acting is brilliant.
Yeah,
I really have to point that out one more time because I believe every second. Sometimes you watch movies and you feel like, yeah, okay, they were trying to come across with the emotion, but I didn't really feel it. Every eye movement you do, every second when you basically move your head or something, I really pay attention to that. It's
He's doing that right now, like right now. Yeah, I mean, we had a few other cast members on this show, and then some of them read for other roles, and they ended up with the role they have, which is I think is perfect.
Yeah,
a lot of everyone ended up with the same role.
I think that I totally agree with you guys. It's like you see it play out, and everyone just embodies their character so well.
Right.
Sometimes that's the way it works out, and a lot of times when I'm in these scenes, I'm like amazed,
Right.
and it is, I feel like the best acting that I've done is like when I'm in a scene with a great scene partner,
Of
and
course,
you're just forced to just react and be in the moment with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christina Rodlo, she's amazing, and so
Right.
I mean, is there any kind of ritual, anything that you do preparing for a scene like that, for example, which is very emotional?
I mean, we get to rehearse, and before we started the whole filming, we made time for a lot of rehearsals and just getting to talk about the backstory and the relationship, and throughout filming, we would think about, okay, well, what do you think we were doing while we're apart, and just trying to have that imagined life.
Right.
But that scene when we're parking
Parking,
nothing
right.
that exciting happens. But yeah, that was a terrifying scene for me because I knew it was such a crucial,
Right.
moment when we're reunited, and I was constantly just second guessing and totally,
Yeah. Well, Chester's going through a lot, and his need to find out why his letters were sent back and never opened. That was his own motivation, and that I saw, that was really just pushing you to do all that, and then you escaped, jumped in the river. So I want to talk about that for a second. There was a stunt guy jumping in the river, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not you.
I do all my own stunts, man. Wow. No, there was. And while they were kind of practicing before, because we had to wait till it got dark.
Yeah.
The first stunt guy broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jumping over. I mean, there was padding down, but I think it was just the way that he landed.
Right, right.
Like, shattered his ankle. It was like ambulance came to set, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And so they brought in another stunt guy.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Derek, go ahead there.
Okay, next one.
Yeah, but our stunt team was so amazing.
Right.
There's so many different stunts being pulled off in our show, but adding to the tension of the whole series. But yeah, the second one, he was making sure he just. Because I'm sure it's got to be kind of mentally.
Right, of course.
Oh my God, the other guy.
I mean, hats
what
off.
happened? What happened to him?
Yeah, what happened to the first guy? No.
It's like, no, I got this.
Now I'm curious though. So how far would you think? How far would you go doing a stunt? What would you do?
How far would I go?
Yeah, just.
Well, I don't know if the shot made it into it, but in episode 5 with the Jeep flip,
yeah.
We actually did it on the stage where they had a Jeep on like a gimbal, kind of like that would do a full 360
Gotcha.
rotation, and I did that, being strapped in and having it spin, like multiple times, like 3-4 times, and then with the blue screen behind us, and I mean that was
fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
that's
that was pretty
already.
dangerous, man.
I mean, it wasn't no jumping in the river, but it was cool. It was all right.
No,
It
it
was
definitely
all right.
was not that. No, only 50 feet up in the air in the studio, like.
Wow, that's.
No, yeah, hats off to
Still.
the stunt performers. They're amazing. Well, the thing is, like, Luz, when Luz was with Julio, and then all of a sudden we see you in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Creeper Chester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, Chester's
it's like
there. He's just chilling in the car.
I tweeted that. Is that romantic or
Right.
is that creepy?
It's like too bad there was not like the technology nowadays, like get a text like in the car.
You up?
You up? Right? You up? Text? Oh god.
Outside.
Outside.
Right.
Outside. Come quick. Ben, I want to get your
Outside, come quick. I like that one. What do you
your
mean?
opinions on.
Come quick. What do you mean? Anyway, yeah.
I want to get your thoughts about the scene in the car. I mean, because it's a very touching scene. It's very like wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I mean,
Where would you want to go? Like it was crazy.
the thing is, when I saw the scene, as I mentioned it already, acting was great, but also what Luz is saying is that she doesn't have anything to give anymore to him. Mm-hmm. She was basically buried with the kids as well, so she's not even herself anymore.
That was strong.
And that was really strong for me to say something like that in this moment, right? Because I still felt, though, that she loves this guy so much, but she maybe doesn't even know if she's enough for him anymore.
Right.
Because that's what I felt,
Yeah.
I think it's not really that she felt like, Chester is not the right one for me or something like that. I think she was kind of ashamed a little bit about herself.
Right.
Not being able to give him what he deserves, talking about the kids,
Yeah.
So that's what I felt.
I know, such a
And that was-
challenging.
And the way how
role,
she,
man.
but the
Yeah.
way how
She
she
kills
played
it.
the way how she played that out, I felt exactly that. So I
Yeah.
hope that's what you wanted to do, Luz. So correct me if I'm wrong. So, but
Let's
yeah,
give her a call right now.
Yeah,
You
Luz,
guys
can you
got-
please
no,
tune
I'm just
in?
kidding.
We have Skype.
Tune in. Yeah, it was such an incredible. Strong
That was strong.
scene. I had
really
no
strong.
idea. Did you have any clue where she would want to go? Or she was going to take Chester up on the offer?
Not really, but I mean, we know that she's very connected to her culture, right?
Right.
So
Of
I had a
course.
feeling that she might gonna do something like that. But it was kind of surprising to me that I didn't expect her to say, stay. I didn't expect that.
I was waiting for it. I was like,
I didn't expect that for some reason.
Come on, when are you gonna tell him to stay?
Maybe I was thinking too complicated.
I think it was
easy for me.
At one point, I was like, okay, Chester's like, he said, I'll just drive east and see, where Taiso will land or whatever. And I was like, okay.
And she said,
what you really want to say is, I'll stay here.
I would have expected you to say, oh no, that's okay, bye.
Chester was standing there for like 45 seconds.
Right.
Like, I'll just drive that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's nowhere else to go.
And then she
exactly.
said, okay, stay, whatever.
Please.
That's great though. That's a testament to the writing. That you didn't see.
Yeah.
You didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that.
I didn't see
that coming.
I was hoping for it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Honestly, I do write myself. I think we're all in the same industry, so we all do some writing. That's what I do at least. I like that. I do like writing, so I always try to understand. Okay, now they do this next. I mean, come on, it's easy to see.
But no, they always just keep bringing it with twists and turns. I love it.
That's what I appreciate about a show these days.
Right.
Because we know so many stories already by now. Watching so much television, and how it is. Some storylines there is some stuff where oh my god, I know exactly because I saw that in 2-5 movies before.
Right.
So there's no way out. You have to do this now.
Right.
But if something like that is happening, I said, oh, respect. I didn't see that coming at all. So.
Speaking of a twist, Chester has a brother.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Right?
Talk
Who
about
saw
twists.
that coming?
Mind blown.
It was crazy.
Right? No one. I didn't see it coming, and it was actually after we found that out that I paid attention. I was like, that was the first time Yuko referred to them as boys in plural. It was always like my Taiso. So it was just interesting to see that and just like, okay, because I was like, oh, does she know, or I was like, was she aware of another,
Good point.
So that was extreme.
More twins. More twins.
So what do you know about this?
I know he's like smiling over there.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get to meet his twin at some point. I don't know.
I'm hoping so.
He must be a good-looking guy.
Double Impact.
Double Impact, right?
One of my favorite
That
movies
was good.
as well.
Good movie. Yeah, that was just mind blowing. He snuck in there. He saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing Chester, he's gonna search for and make it happen.
Yeah,
I believe so.
For sure.
But
Maybe. I don't know.
Yuko, Kiki's such an amazing actress that played. It's just amazing.
So
but
great.
in the beginning,
and all the makeup that she has to go through, like she went through hours of makeup every day.
I can just imagine.
Yeah, I mean, she's a trooper.
I can also imagine she must be such a sweet person in real life, right? So the complete opposite, probably, like the role, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But all of our characters, they kind of live somewhere deep inside.
Right.
So who knows?
There's a Yuko in there.
I mean, I said that before in different episodes. We all of you guys, we have a dark side in us. And we all know that. We just have to do right, or we just have to experience the right thing to get it out there.
Oh,
that's what I believe.
Got
Human beings have that.
Got dark real quick. Okay.
And I have a lot of
but
that.
she's coming from a good place,
right?
Which makes her such a compelling character.
But
right?
we saw a lot of her, story in the last episode. It was crazy.
That was a crazy episode.
We saw the kind of victim of Yuko, and then we saw the birth of how she is now. Like, it was just crazy. Mind blowing.
I'm even in a position, don't get me wrong, guys, but I feel for her. And I said that in the last episode. So even if she kills someone, I feel like, but it's for good cause. So I was like, that's okay.
I mean, not to get too heavy with it, but that it does speak to the themes that are present in the show, and what we're trying to say with the show is that, we're trying to, empathy.
Exactly.
We all need empathy between all communities and cultures and humans and ghosts and doesn't matter.
Right.
And so I think.
And also the respect of people's cultures, like just knowing, if you believe in Yurei or if you believe in all these things, like just having respect for that, even though you might not believe in yourself, but for these people it is real. Right. And just seeing that. But at the beginning of the episode, we see Yuko patching herself up, and then she kills a doctor. So she kills 2 people in this episode. Yeah. And the last person, I kind of...
You keeping a tally?
I am keeping a tally. But the last person she killed in this episode, I was like, oh... I mean, Luz's dad. Come on.
That was
Come on.
Yeah, he was a cool guy, you know.
It was a cool death.
Yeah.
That's it?
It was,
He was a cool guy.
But I
It was
feel
very-
for her. I said it already.
She's
so,
she's very creative with her killings. Like, I must say, I don't know if she thinks them through, is like premeditated or but it's really, I mean, she was just like right in the pin, right in the eye.
Yeah.
But once she uses them first, she
It's like
uses
what is
them.
that? That's a reference. What is that? Dark Knight. The Joker.
Yes.
Puts the thing on.
Oh yeah.
Oh hey,
that's right.
Yes. Good reference. Yeah.
By the way, this is coming soon as well. Joker.
Joker is coming soon. Yeah.
Hey, let's stay on topic.
Oh yeah, of course.
guys.
Of course.
I know, it's
God,
like-
I'm so
I know
emotional.
you're excited about that movie,
I'm emotional
but
What are we talking about here?
I know you're excited about that.
Anyway,
so she finds out. Yuko finds out where Chester is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, he's not going to escape her.
Or Taizo.
Taizo. Yes, her
Chester.
Taizo. Her Taizo.
Who are you?
Maybe Chester and Taizo are the
Are
twins.
different. Exactly.
They've been two different people the
This whole
show.
entire time.
And yeah, I don't know.
You're just like leading us somewhere.
Okay. That is not gonna
Is
happen.
Taizo Chester's twin? No.
I mean, honestly, can I say something?
Yeah.
I believe that Chester is not even Taizo.
Yeah.
I believe
Could
that
possibly be.
Chester is the twin brother already.
And Taizo's dead. What do you, I mean, where's the other twin?
I mean, he's still out there,
Oh, he's still out
obviously,
there. It's like she's looking for the wrong one this whole time.
but pretty much, yeah. I do believe that.
Or
I do
the other
believe
one
that.
the other one might be dead, and that's why she's just focused on Taizo.
That'd be funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The end
We'll
of the
see.
series.
We'll see. At the end of the series,
not
you
even
find out.
But we can already say that the goal of Yuko is basically to get the twins back to her paradise, right?
To be with her, to be with them, yeah. I mean,
Because
that's
we
the
saw
whole
she
thing.
was trying to steal a baby the last
Right.
episode, right? And she falls back into the grave, and she
Right.
couldn't take the baby with her because it was not her own baby.
That's right.
Exactly.
So she's just trying to get the twins and then fall back into the grave with you
Yes.
guys.
That's right.
So
That's right.
sorry to tell you, but you know
You're paying attention. I like
Yeah.
it. I like
You're
it.
paying attention.
like
Yeah,
it.
but I do like the kind of sort of happy ending that was going on in this
Yeah.
episode where Chester gets to stay with the family and
Yeah.
work on the farm there. But it's going to be short-lived, I'm sure. But do you
Well,
have any-
maybe we didn't. He didn't say yes in that scene.
Oh, he didn't say yes. That's true. That is true. But I mean, you got Luz back. Would you really say to no? I'll see you later. Like, I'm gonna go east,
I'm going back to Guadalcanal.
right?
I got some unfinished business.
And then I'll be back. I'll be back.
But you smiled, and I could read it.
Yeah, we could
I could
read.
feel like-
we could read the answer from the face. Do you have any other input or anything for the episode?
I think we talked about all the topics that I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Mr. Bowen and Amy already, right? So
Yeah.
I believe he's going to try even more stuff in the next episode, people. So watch out.
I hope not, but
I
you never
believe
know.
that. I see there's something coming.
Well,
You know, anyway. But that's
Okay.
just me. I'm always thinking these crazy things anyway. So,
but yeah, now we want to move to good old Derek here.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're like ask you some questions.
and what I liked about, I just wanted to point that out because
What?
I couldn't completely understand what Amy what we were talking about, because she said I used your authority, because
Yes.
when they are in this building, he basically said to her, hey, you don't have any authority to basically call the hospital or emergency to basically get these kids to a hospital or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, no, but I used your authority.
Right.
And I was like, okay, what does she exactly mean by that? Because she was still calling. So she was basically just saying, okay, on behalf of Mr. Bone, is that what
Right.
it means?
Right.
That's what she was trying to say.
Yes.
Oh,
She was conveying the
I
message for him.
see.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
she
that
was
makes
like,
sense.
She should have just been like on behalf of his authority. Let's let them all go.
Yeah, pretty
they would
much.
have been like, what's going on?
They're good to go.
But that's actually interesting because if it's that easy to
Right.
make a phone call and say, on behalf of Mr. Bone, you go
Right,
to the
right,
hospital, we can just have said, all the people in the camp, they can just leave right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's what I was thinking for a second. To be
That
honest.
would
But
be
anyway,
nice.
That's just
But
me.
okay, so Derek, you said you hadn't watched the last season. So when you got the audition and when you were going for this role, what did you do before you got the audition? Or before you went in?
That was one of the first things I did
Nice.
was check out the first season. and just to get a feel for the tone, or you just want to see what this franchise is about.
Right.
And I was hooked.
Yeah.
I think I watched the whole thing in like
good.
a weekend or something like that. It was it was great.
So good.
And I love all the different metaphors for the terror. You know what I mean? And it's not just the monster. It's what's going on between the human beings.
Right.
That's the real terror. And especially in this episode, that's what really hit it for me when Ken gets taken out. And it's like that was such a painful part, and it's not Yuko. It's just the humans, doing that to each other.
That's very interesting that you point that out, because I remember we had one episode where I had an article from Alexander Wu, and where he was basically saying, you know what, I always wanted to tell the story because it's a real life story that really happened. But then on top of it, we basically have this ghost topic on top to get people engaged with the whole series, because otherwise people might have said, I know the ending anyway.
That's the history.
Because it's history, so I know the part. So I like this kind of combination of a real life story with human beings fighting these different kind of arguments they have, but then on top of it, this ghost topic, which still feels kind of real, because I feel Yuko is still acting like a human being in a way, still to me. You know what I mean?
She has human origins. She has her own origin story.
Yeah, and she's a mom in a way to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's
she died a mother. Yeah.
What would you do as a
Not
dad?
in a
or
way,
mom?
she is.
She is.
She is a mom. She's
Don't
a good.
talk about my mom like that.
No, I love your mom. She's a good mom.
I don't know if you guys know, but like my grandpa was actually in an internment camp.
Really? Okay.
I think Hira mentioned that last week. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Wow. So that was it was crazy.
So how was that for you, being like on that set? Just being Japanese American, 4th generation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really special project, for me, because my family actually went through this part of history, because it actually happened, and there's still people that didn't know that it happened. And my other grandpa actually was in the MIS. Much like how Chester enlisted in the MIS. So it's crazy to play a character that's a composite of both of your grandfathers like that.
Crazy.
That's like a once in a lifetime role,
right?
So No, I'm just thinking about that for a second, because I'm just thinking about my grandpa, and I have a similar story, where I'm from. So because he was still a kid, but he remembers like when Russians knocked on our door, trying to get the boys out of the house, trying to get them to Russia to raise them to become soldiers in the future.
Really?
And he's still alive. He's back in Europe, right? But anyway, so
that's great, man. You should write that.
I'm actually very inspired. I talked to my grandpa 6 months ago. We talked about that for hours.
That's the best thing about this show. It's sparking discussions,
It's,
and not just from the Japanese American community,
of course,
but other people. Yeah,
everyone.
Like
the
yourself.
people that didn't know or didn't really have a lot of. It's educating people. That's what I love about it. It is also educating people.
But I just wanted to ask you that you mentioned about your two grandpas. So what did you do? So you sat down with them, said, "Hey, Grandpa, I have this project coming up."
No, they're passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
No. Right, I was going to say, the first thing, are they still with us?
No, my grandpa's sister is still with us, Auntie Fasai. If you're watching AfterBuzz, what's up? How are you?
She's here with us.
But she has a very vivid memory, and it's still painful for her to kind of revisit that part of her life. But that was also one of the first things I did was contact her and. Actually, in the beginning, stages of the audition process, I actually went to the actual Terminal Island where our series starts out, because that's where he grew up. My grandpa, who was in the internment camp, he was from Terminal Island.
Wow!
Can you imagine
Just
that?
walking
That's crazy.
in footsteps. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like destiny to me, to be honest. I believe in destiny.
I
do.
I do too.
Wow.
I do too.
How was it for you? Working on a timepiece like this, and were there any things that you referred back to the 40s or anything like that you had to build your character on?
Yeah, I mean, just spoke with my aunt, and there's some interviews and testimonials online that my family had given, my great grandma and my grandpa about this particular period of living in Terminal Island, and also like the night, like when the FBI comes, and because that really happened at the end of the first episode where they come and take Henry away. They came and took my great grandfather away, and my grandpa was pleading with them to take him instead. So I've been aware of the internment camp story. I've done a few films that take place in the internment camps, but never, anything on such a big scale like this, like on AMC. So just took all those different experiences and, trips to Manzanar, which is an internment camp on the way up to Mammoth. My family stops off at because we go fishing up in Mammoth almost every year.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I feel like it's all these years of kind of knowing about it and kind of hearing stories about it, and now being able to like channel it all into this project.
That's crazy. What's one of your like favorite moments on set? I know there are a lot. Just give us one.
Favorite? I don't know. I mean, that was definitely an emotional scene to shoot the end of the first episode with the roundup of the FBI. But we filmed up in Vancouver, and one of the scenes where I'm wading through the mud pit of all the bodies in Guadalcanal. The first time we tried to shoot that, it was dumping snow. It's supposed to be in the dead heat of the summer in Guadalcanal, and it was just dumping snow, and so we had to scrap the day and come back another day. But it actually paid off because it provided that beautiful goodbye of Luz and Shingo when it was snowing in that scene.
That was beautiful.
I don't know, man. There's so many different. I can't even. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, it was just such a special project, There's so many moments on set where I'm just like, looking up at the stars at like 3, 4 in the morning in Vancouver, like I'm so lucky, to be telling this story, and it was just, a powerful thing,
That's awesome.
I mean, I feel like one of the strongest moments also for me was when you basically said, my parents are dead. When you're basically in the room with your parents, or like the people who raised you, even that you now realize they're not, and you basically said that line. How did you feel as an actor in this moment? I mean, you were in the character, obviously, but what was running through your mind when you said those lines? Because I feel like this is a strong thing to say.
Yeah,
it's it's pretty tough.
Yeah,
You remember that scene, right? It was.
So you do remember that,
in the back of the truck. Yeah,
it did happen, right? Yeah.
Even before in the room too.
Yeah.
Even before in the room when you had the conversation with your.
That was another.
You're not my dad.
Very emotional. I mean, there's so many scenes in this show where that was so difficult.
That was a tough moment to me.
It was.
Yeah.
It's like these people were there for you your whole life, pretty much.
I think you just have to come back next week.
It's like I want to ask you one more thing before we wrap up. Being where Hollywood and TV and film is headed right now, and at this moment, it's amazing. It's representing a lot, and a lot of diversity. Where would you like to see it head even further next?
I think it's great that we get to tell stories of other communities, and so that again draws home that theme of empathy of like our show. It's like they're Japanese Americans. You might not look like them, but you're gonna feel what they're going through in this story. You're gonna empathize with them. We all have families and loved ones, and we'll do anything to protect them. So that's universal. It's great that we get to tell this story, which is pretty specific to a certain the Japanese American and Asian American community. But I think we just need to come to a point where we're just telling stories as people, wherever, as Americans, and we are, we bring who we are to those stories and characters, but they don't have to be specifically, about, an Asian part of history. It's just a guy who happens to be Asian or African American or Latino or white, and we're all just we're all just here.
We're all just people.
Yeah, we're all
That's
just
awesome.
people.
Well, that's great to finish on right there, everyone. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here in the after show, The Terror Infamy. Go ahead and see us out, Ben.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Benjamin Schnau, Schnau. The same on Facebook. And I also do Dark on Tuesday, 8 p.m. in German for you guys. Thanks so much.
And where can we find you, Derek?
You can find me on Instagram at Derek_Mio or on Twitter at Derek Z Mio. And
Awesome.
you can find me out there.
You can find me out there.
Any
Awesome.
projects coming up for you? Anything in the pipe?
I also do stand-up. I do
Yes,
some stand-up
that's stand-up,
comedy
yes.
as well. So,
Yes, so check 'em out.
Go to DerekMio.com. List all the different shows that are coming up.
He got it.
So, yeah.
He does it
Awesome.
all.
Well, thank you
Wow.
so much for being and joining us in the studio again. It's been awesome
thanks for
having you,
having
the
me.
lead
Had a
of The
blast.
Terror. And you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you soon. Good
Our
night.
founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.